In 450 BC, Herodotus, the Greek historian history calls the father of history, traveled to Egypt. He had already seen the Parthenon. He had documented the hanging gardens of Babylon. He had walked the great temples of Persia. He was not easily impressed. But in the Fayum Depression, southwest of Cairo, he encountered something that stopped him entirely. He wrote, "This labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids. It has 12 covered courts, opposite doors, 6 to the north and 6 to the south. Inside, the building is of 2 stories and contains 3,000 rooms, of which half are underground and half above ground. He counted rooms. He measured corridors. He described courts so vast that tours of the upper level alone took entire days. He called it the greatest structure he had ever witnessed, greater than anything Greece had built, greater than anything Egypt's pharaohs had claimed credit for. And yet, if you open a modern tourist map of Egypt right now, the labyrinth does not appear. No excavation, no monument, no UNESCO site, no museum exhibit. It is simply gone." Strabo, the Greek geographer writing in 25 BC, visited the same site and confirmed every detail. He described a vast complex of interconnected colonnaded halls and underground chambers. Diodorus Siculus, another Greek historian, wrote that the structure was beyond all description. 3 independent ancient sources, same location, same scale, same structure, and then silence. The site near Hawara, beside the pyramid of Pharaoh Amenemhat III of the 12th dynasty, who ruled around 1800 BC, was excavated by British archaeologist William Matthew Flinders Petrie in 1888. He found a field of stone chips, fragments, destruction debris on an almost industrial scale. He concluded the labyrinth had been systematically quarried, its stones removed, block by block, and recycled into other structures. He found no chambers, no underground complex, and history accepted his conclusion as final. Until 2008. A joint Belgian and Egyptian team, the Mataha Expedition, led by researcher Geert van den Berge in collaboration with the Egyptian Ministry of State for Antiquities, arrived at Hawara with ERT, electrical resistivity tomography, equipment, ground-penetrating radar, multi-depth subsurface scanning. They scanned the desert floor at 80-centimeter intervals across the entire zone Herodotus had described. What the instruments found was not a quarried field, not rubble, not sand. What they found were massive anomalies, uniform rectangular structures at depth, dense mud brick walls, stone column bases arranged in regular intervals matching a large-scale architectural grid, precisely where Herodotus placed his 12 courts. The data was unambiguous. Something enormous is still down there. The team announced their intention to excavate. Within months, the project was suspended. The Egyptian government withdrew all cooperation. The Mataha Expedition website went offline. The full radar dataset was never officially published, and the site at Hawara sits untouched to this day. Why seal a 3,000-room labyrinth beneath Egyptian sand? Herodotus gave us the answer himself, though history has buried this detail as thoroughly as the complex. He wrote that the lower chambers, the underground half, the section he was forbidden from entering, turned back by Egyptian priests at the threshold, contained the tombs of the sacred crocodiles. But he added something else, something more significant. He wrote that beneath the labyrinth lay the resting places of the kings before the pharaohs, the rulers of Egypt before the dynasties we recognize, the pre-dynastic rulers who, according to ancient Egyptian records, the Turin King List and the Palermo stone were not human. The Turin King List is a papyrus document created during the reign of Ramesses II, a meticulous administrative record of every Egyptian ruler in sequence. It does not begin with Narmer, the first official pharaoh in 3100 BC. It begins much earlier, with a list of divine beings, the Shemsu Hor, the followers of Horus, who ruled Egypt for 36,000 years before the first human dynasty. Mainstream Egyptology classifies this section as mythology. But what if the labyrinth is the archive? What if those 3,000 rooms, half of them permanently sealed, half permanently dark, contain the physical record of that pre-dynastic history, unaltered, unchosen, unedited by any later dynasty, any conqueror, any church? The true chronology of human history. And today the entire site sits beneath a high salinity water table. Rising groundwater from the Fayum agricultural basin, fed by modern irrigation, has saturated the subsoil at Hawara. The labyrinth, if it stands intact, is now submerged, inaccessible without extraordinary engineering intervention. Was this flooding the natural consequence of modern agriculture, or was it the final deliberate erasure? 3,000 rooms, half of them, Herodotus said, were deliberately plunged into total darkness. Ancient Egyptian priests guarded the entrance with their lives. The Egyptian government buried the modern survey data. The site itself has now been drowned beneath rising groundwater. 3 separate acts of suppression. 3 separate eras. 1 consistent objective. The answers are still down there, in the dark, in the cold, brackish water beneath the Fayum sand, waiting for the civilization bold enough to demand them. Next week, we leave Egypt and cross to the Pacific, to the waters off the southern coast of Yonaguni Island, Japan, where in 1987, a diving instructor named Kihachiro Aratake descended 25 meters beneath the surface and found something that should not exist, a monument, terraced, geometric, with right-angle walls, standing columns and carved channels, submerged beneath an ocean that was last at sea level over 12,000 years ago. Subscribe, because what they're hiding is not mythology, it's engineering.